The summer of 1518 was suffocatingly hot. Even in Strasbourg, a city used to the whims of weather, the air hung heavy, as if the sky itself had lowered over the rooftops and refused to let go. People suffered, livestock dropped dead from the heat, bread molded while still in ovens. Infants sickened. Wells dried up. It began on July 14th. A woman named Martha Trophia stepped out of her home on St. Gunther Street. The neighbors knew her, a baker's widow, quiet and plain. But that day, Martha wasn't heading to the market or to church. She came out to dance. No music played. No rhythm guided her steps. Without reason or cause, she began to move, swaying, spinning her arms, stomping her bare feet against the cobblestone. At first, children laughed. Then adults gathered. Someone said it was a fit. Another, that she was drunk. But Martha danced. Hours passed, the sun rose high, and she did not stop. When night fell, she collapsed from exhaustion. But by morning, she was back on her feet, dancing again. 3 days later, 6 more joined her. A young cobbler, an old fisherman, a pregnant girl. All of them moved as if summoned by a voice only they could hear. Their motions were jerky, fevered, but strangely synchronized, as if some invisible conductor played a tune just for them. By mid-July, the dancers numbered over 30. They filled the streets, bumping into passers-by, collapsing and rising again. No one could stop them. Their bodies shriveled, but they felt no pain. Some died, not from injury, but from sheer exhaustion. Overheating. Hearts giving out to a rhythm no mortal could sustain. Burgomaster Hans Kramer was at a loss. Physicians claimed it was blood fever, sinful humors. The treatment? More dancing. Let them exhaust the evil. So musicians were summoned, fiddlers, drummers, flutists. They played in the town square while the afflicted whirled and twitched and gasped. But the more music played, the more dancers joined. At the monastery of St. Urban lived a monk named Brother Lucius. He was 45, mute, and considered odd by most. But he alone began to chronicle what was happening. Each evening in the monastery library, he wrote down the names of new dancers, sketched the patterns he saw repeating in their steps. He noticed something first, unfamiliar figures in the crowds. People no one recognized. They appeared and vanished quickly. And they always danced. One night, he left the abbey and walked into the city. The moon was full. The sky, copper-colored. At a crossroads, he found dozens of dancers. They spun in manic unison, and then, all at once, they stopped. As if their strings had been cut. Then Lucius saw it. Suspended in the air among the dancers was a shadow. Not a man. Not an animal. Not smoke. Not flesh. Simply the absence of light. It moved among the bodies slowly, coiling like something ancient and submerged. Suddenly, one of the dancers, an old man with a white beard, screamed and arched backward. He collapsed, and did not rise. The shadow vanished. Lucius returned to the monastery and began searching. Through old records, forbidden texts, sealed scrolls. He found mentions, a sect that once worshipped the eternal dancer, Vita Saltator. A spirit, ancient and hungry, who demanded dance as sacrifice. Those who danced themselves to death became part of its rhythm. And with each soul, the spirit grew stronger. Its last awakening was in 1237. Before that, 941. Each time, a scorching summer. Thirst. Death. By August, there were over 200 dancers. They clogged streets, blocked markets, terrified onlookers. Some tried to flee, but the plague followed. Other cities saw outbreaks. People danced until they passed out. Some screamed names no one recognized. One man was found dead, feet charred, though the ground had been cold. Kramer, desperate, ordered a great wooden stage built in the main square. Let them all dance, he said. Let the music play until the spirit is satisfied. Dozens were herded onto the platform. Musicians played, their hands trembling. They knew they weren't playing for people anymore. And again, the shadow returned. This time, all saw it. It passed through the crowd. People fell. Some laughed. Some wept. Some cried for their mothers. But none, not one, could stop. 3 days later, the stage was empty. Only bodies remained. Twisted, ruptured, lifeless bodies. Silence hung over the city. The dancers were gone. The survivors didn't speak. They simply sat and stared, as if still listening for a rhythm that had moved on. Martha Trophia vanished. Her house was found open, abandoned. Some swore they saw her at the city gates, barefoot, bloodied, still dancing. 2 years passed. Brother Lucius left the monastery. He no longer wrote. He lived in a shack near the forest. But one day, he returned to Strasbourg on the eve of the harvest festival. The streets burned with golden light. And then, he saw her. On St. Gunther Street. Where it had begun. She stood by the fountain. Martha. Her face was blank. Serene. But where her eyes had been, now hollow pits, leaking ash. She moved slowly, deliberately. The stones beneath her feet shimmered faintly, almost imperceptibly vibrating. She looked at him, with empty sockets. And then she began to spin again. Far below Strasbourg's cobblestones, in the roots of the ancient earth, something stirred. A single thump. Then another. And again the dance. The cycle had begun anew.